put this countdown on, I think we always get to 19 seconds. Oh, we got to 18 seconds today. Darn it, I wasn't talking fast enough. We don't need that. Anyways, welcome to the Toy Duo, everybody. We appreciate you coming in and checking it out. And we're going to talk about Star Wars, Marvel, DC. We're going to talk about the headless Marshall there in the image. We're going to talk about the Star Wars reveals that happened earlier in the week. We're going to the Marvel Legends figures that they just released. We're going to talk about some other stuff. I don't know yet what we're going to talk about, but we will talk about whatever pops up. And thanks for coming. Anyways, let me get rid of this thing. You know, it's funny. Like I was telling Dan off screen, like you could see where, like right in the middle of this image, it's the Ramen Toys, the Marshall figure that they got coming out, but somehow there's no head on there. It's because when you go into PowerPoint and remove the background, it's all perfect. But then I converted it to Google Slides and it took the head off and then added some of the background back on there. It's just really weird how this stuff happens. Anyways,
ironic
everybody,
that the person notorious for popping heads just happens to have an issue with his PowerPoint.
It's almost like purposeful. You guys are funny. Anyways, today we have Sir Eric Brown is back. Down at the bottom, looks like he's wearing his Wookiee sweatshirt because it's probably super cold there in the middle of summer. And then
it is cold in this basement. It's always cold down here.
Yeah. Wow. And then up here we got Dan from Dandy 1981. He has not been with us before on the Toy Duo, but we used to co-host the Points of Articulation. Are we going to bring that back?
I'm hoping.
Yeah,
looks we can find a good time that nobody else is on.
Yeah. I'm not getting into that conversation on camera again. I already got hosed over making some comments about streaming when other people are streaming. Anyways, the other half of the reason we show up and just talk about stuff aimlessly is because of all the people who show up to hear us talk about stuff aimlessly. And as always, those of you who have joined us to watch the show and are join us in the chat, please comment, ask questions. I'll try not to skip over them. I think I've been doing pretty good about getting back to the comments and actually leaving them on screen for a while. Let's say hi to some folks that have joined us. Gap After Dark is here. Hello, Gap. How you doing? Yeah. And then Gerard Kane is here. Jonathan Redmond has shown up. He's saying hello. I'm glad because we got your Super 7 news today, especially for you. And Connor from Fuller's Figures. Howdy, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. It is a long weekend this weekend here in the States, right? Labor Day. I don't know what it is around the world, but here we have a holiday weekend, so nobody will be going to work on Labor Day. I don't know. Maybe one of you guys are going to be going to work on Labor Day. Sometimes I have to work.
I'll be working, but not getting paid for it.
Oh, okay. And then Sir Eric Brown has also joined us in the chat. He's pulling double duty. I think it's easier, right? Because you guys can just chat straight from StreamYards now. Look at that. Sunny Sundress getting up early. I think it's like 4 o'clock in the morning over there. Thank you for joining.
You mean I don't have to have 2 windows up anymore?
Yeah. I know. Isn't that nice? Connor's really happy to see you. Dan, we got Mr. B. He has joined us. Let's see. Oh, and Eric, he's happy to see you too. So, something about a pumpkin and a baby bottle. Oh, a little baby pumpkin and a baby bottle.
Pumpkin spice breast milk.
What? Oh, is that what it is?
Pumpkin spice breast milk. Just kidding. I don't know.
And Eric's like looking at us like, I'm pretending not to hear you guys talking about me.
He's like, I'm gonna just pretend.
We got Miriam Gillis. She has joined us. Hello.
Earmuffs there.
Duffman's Dioramas has joined us. Let's see. And Dandy has joined us in the chat too.
Look at that.
And Duffman, everybody saying hi to each other.
All right, I'm back. I can hear you guys again.
You can hear.
There he is.
Man. We were never mind. I'm not going to go back.
I thought I saw something baby stuff on sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
I
a
was
baby
reading
in a
some
bottle or
letters.
something like that.
Yeah. No, whatever.
Left Coast Graphics is here. This is the theme to Dandy Show, the opening theme to Danny Show.
Was it Gary Shandling, right?
Yes. Gary
He's
Shandling?
making fun of Gary Shandling.
I think so, yeah.
Gary called me up and asked if I could write his theme song. I remember that.
Let's see. Duffman's. Yeah, everybody saying hi. Fabulous Disaster. What's up, everybody? James McGurk. Hi, everyone. He's saying, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Not sure if I've ever seen you in the chat before, but thanks for coming in. If this is your first time, make sure you join the conversation. Let us know what's going on. Let's see.
Welcome.
Yeah. Mr. B, Fabulous Disaster. It's high noon.
My mind just shakes.
On the left coast. Hey, Gap, Connor. Yep. Let's see. Okay, where is the guy that talks a lot?
Sean?
I don't know if that's Super John, where he doesn't let anybody get a word in edgewise. Let's see, Lobot, Mr. Redman. Yeah, a lot of okay. All right. First time via Culture Cast. Oh, okay, great. Thanks for coming in. We really appreciate it. Anyways, so are you guys watching Ahsoka or are you not watching Ahsoka? I know you didn't do the after show this week, right, Eric?
Yeah, I can't weeknights anymore. It's just tough. My wife's about to go back to work, and I'm my new job. I'm just working a bit later and whatnot. It's just tough to manage.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Dan, no, are you watching it?
I'm on 3.
Okay, so I don't know about Dan, but I know about Eric. He's seen all of the Rebels and stuff like that, and you're all caught up in all the backstories and lore by reading the books and the comics or whatever. Dan, how far back do you go with your knowledge base?
It's interesting you said that because I've never been, and I've always been interested in it. I've been interested in like you said, the lore, but like I just couldn't bring myself to do the shows. And it's nothing against them; they're great. Just like the
it's 2-1 this week. Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the animated.
Okay, yeah. What was the one they just did? What was the one with the Bad Batch?
Oh, yeah, Bad Batch.
Yeah,
was the most recent.
No, I loved it. I did. I tried, man. I tried. Like I got it. I'm almost through the first whole season. I think I did maybe finish the whole season, but I like the lore. I like the legend. I like reading, where these people came from. So I thought it was awesome that they put those characters in the show, but I don't have the background that like what you're talking about with the books and the animated.
So let me ask you a question then. Do you feel lost?
Not at all. No, I think they did a great job. I mean, like I said, I knew enough. I mean, I knew the characters' names. I've seen the figures.
Sure.
I knew enough about it to not be lost. I think maybe if you were, I don't know. I mean, you can't get much more naive than I am. I mean, I knew the characters. That's it. But I couldn't tell you what they did or who they fought with or anything. So, and I don't feel lost at all.
Mm. I picked up a lot from listening to people's conversation and watching like YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like Ways of the Sith is usually on here, right? And
Ways,
and yeah, they were talking about Left Coast is basically saying Jonathan saying he's setting up his new place. That's his excuse for not being here this week. He didn't want to show up with no backdrop. No, I think he had some contractors coming in. But when you guys talk about like all the back stuff, even like when I'm sitting here and I'm like quiet, pretending like I can't get a word in edgewise, I'm just really listening because it's really interesting to me that like, wow, there's a lot of backstory that you could fill yourself with if you had the time to like read or watch all that stuff, or if I had just been able to sit there and watch like some of the animated shows. But I'm with Dan. I think like I don't think that I'm lost at all.
That's good.
But somehow I do believe that maybe I'm missing something. I feel like the success of Ahsoka is probably going to be judged on in 3 areas, right? One, can it get people who haven't watched Rebels up to speed, right? And like not have them feel like alienated and out of touch with what's going on. Yep. Sure.
2, does it compel those people to go back and watch Rebels? Because I think that should be like a measure of like the show's
Yeah.
success. Does it get people hooked in to want to learn more and go back, right? And then 3, does it move things forward for like all like weird Star Wars Force lore and whatnot, and give people like me and everyone else who's consumed like every piece of media out there like
Right.
something new, right? Those are, I think, the 3 kind of measures of success for the show. But
yeah, because I know a lot of people who watched The Mandalorian that were never Star Wars fans before. Then all of a sudden they saw The Mandalorian, they were like, "Oh, this is pretty good," and then they've gone back to pick up bits and pieces of stuff before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I was just gonna say I've been meaning to go back and talk to some friends who aren't like big Star Wars fans who are watching Ahsoka and get their points of view on whether or not they feel lost, because I know these people haven't seen Rebels. But yeah, I'm genuinely surprised that you guys are like, yeah, can like it's doing a good enough job, because I personally wasn't sure, because I'm so far on the other end of the spectrum.
So here's where I think about it. I think about like how I always want DC to make a Green Lantern, Green Arrow movie and just not worry about telling their origin stories. To just pick up, and you're going to go into the movies knowing, hey, I'm going to go see a movie about like 2 superheroes. So basically, like we just ended up, I mean, we started The Mandalorian, right? And we didn't need his backstory. We don't need to know where he came from or his origin or anything like that. We were basically able to pick up from that point and just know, okay, this is the central character and this is the guy we're going to follow. We got some flashbacks or whatever. But like in this story, if I just put it in the same perspective as The Mandalorian, I'm now catching up with a character called Ahsoka, Sabine, and then Hera. And based on their interactions, I know that they have a mutual past. What that mutual past is, I don't know, but somebody who watched Rebels does.
No, so that's the thing. People who have watched Rebels have no idea what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine. So that's brand new.
And I think that's the best part about the way the story goes, is like nobody knows what really happened. It's not, and to pick up from this part, like me, somebody who hasn't watched Rebels, I don't need to know what happened, because all I need to know is they have had a mutual past together, and that's how they know each other. And now they're coming back together for an event, right? And I'm just following their story. And some of those things will probably be answered along the way, like what happened, what broke them apart, whatever. And then and if I get so much into the characters at this point, then I might say, yeah, it might be worth going back and watching some of the animated, just to figure out, what they're doing. I want to read some of the comments. So Lobot is saying that he was watching Super Awesome Geek Show, and he's saying it's the worst reality show ever. It was like watching paint dry. And it's because he's painting his new toy room. It's hilarious. But he had one of the animated shows on in the background. I don't know if that was Rebels, but if I watched his live stream long enough, I could probably watch all of Rebels. Let's see.
So can I ask both of you a question
Yes.
since you haven't seen Rebels? What's, like, aside from trying to understand like what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine during the events of the original trilogy, what's your biggest question?
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry. I was
like
thumbs up and blue.
Yeah, no problem. Aside from what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine during the original trilogy, which none of us really know the details, at least not yet. What are your biggest questions for, like, having seen the first 3 episodes? Like, what are you most like curious about with like the dynamics with the the Rebels crew?
Okay, Dan, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
So I'm gonna show my ignorance here, but the I'm assuming the Sith and his apprentice.
Okay.
So I did.
Oh,
is
just
that
like
something from...
No, that's brand new as well. Yeah. So like
okay, because that was going to be my question. Like, where the hell did they come from? Because I'd never heard
Well,
of those
yeah,
two characters.
no, we're trying to. I think we're in the, that's also net new.
Okay.
That those characters I don't think showed up in Rebels unless they reveal in the upcoming episode that the one guy Marak is actually
Rock.
some
Yeah.
is actually some character that we've seen previously. Other than
Yeah, 'cause
that, is there anything like hey, what's the deal with this Hera person or
Okay.
like
No.
or the kid,
No.
for instance?
So here's my question. Okay, so I'm not worried so much about like Ahsoka was a Jedi all through like Return of the Jedi and stuff, where it was like, oh, he's the last one or whatever, because now it seems like there's like a million Jedis gonna pop up, and they've just been in hiding or something, or cut themselves off from the Force, or that'll be how they explain it away.
Sure.
And Yoda hid out on Dagobah, nobody can find him. So I'm not worried about like that type of stuff. I think that's just inherently how it's going to have to be, right? Like to tell future stories. So my question from the original is, so Sabine is training as a Jedi,
Right?
as a Padawan, but it doesn't seem like she has any Force powers at all. And so my question is, did she have any?
So there's some interesting context to this. So I think one of the things that I'm noticing about the Ahsoka series is that Dave Filoni is trying to reset the expectations on Force using in general and Force sensitivity, basically saying everyone
Anybody
has
could do it.
right. It's just like you might have like a higher aptitude for it than others, right? Like a natural talent, right?
Like we can all play basketball, but not everyone's going to the NBA.
Right, exactly. So that I think is powerful, but in Rebels, and like spoiler alert, there is a part of one of the later seasons of Rebels where Kanan, who is the father to the kid that you saw, Hera's kid,
Yes.
Jason, where Kanan and Ezra train Sabine, at least not necessarily in how to use the Force, but how to wield the lightsaber.
Well, because Kanan supposedly trained Sabine to wield the dark saber, right?
Yes.
So that she
That's
could
what I'm
unite the
referring to.
Mandalorians.
Yeah. So there's I saw some. I can't remember where I saw it because I haven't rewatched Rebels in a while since I got my wife to watch it after all the seasons ended. But there's the one character called the Bendu that's voiced by one of the Doctor Who guys.
Okay.
Tom Baker,
Yeah.
I think is his name.
No, I think okay, yeah.
And there was some sequence. I saw some review somewhere where it was saying like, hey, when the Bendu was the Bendu's like the middle, right? Like not the light, the dark. He's like in the middle, so he's like represents the balance in the Force. So when he saw Ezra and Kanan in that kind of sequence, and with Sabine all like trying to help Sabine out learn how to use the darksaber, the Bendu kind of like did like a double take on Sabine as she walked away, which some are taking as like a note of like, oh shit, she might actually have the Force, but she walked away and kind of like,
okay.
Yeah. So there's like some weird nuance that I think some people are. I think it was a Screen Crush video, actually. I want to say that pointed that out. So if you're looking for good like Rebels recaps without having to go back and watch the all the seasons, I would recommend checking something like that out.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a pretty good retcon, if you will, because I think it does send like a message, especially to like younger viewers. And I know like everybody gets upset, like, oh, we got to like make everything warm and fuzzy or whatever. It's a Disney thing or whatever. Or, you know, people are going to complain about this. We're going to change the characters. We're going to do that. So saying that everybody has like the Force, some people can be like the pros or whatever, I think is going back to that thing where like you think like where you tell somebody if you try really hard, you can do well at pretty much whatever you set your mind to. And I know a lot of people, and especially because, you know, I played sports, I played water polo. And so I wasn't like the best player on the team, but I started like my last couple of years of high school. I played at my junior college. And the thing is, it was like, you know, I was never the star of the team, but I was always a very competent player. You know what I mean? Put me in the water, and I wasn't going to give up too much, but I wasn't making all like the fancy plays where, so there's a lot of players, people who play sports that are in that same kind of league where if you work really hard at something, you can attain a fairly decent level, but yeah, you're never going to be the guy that the scout I'm looking for.
Yep. Yeah. I relate to that very much. So being short, like a shorter person having played sports, I just, you can make up for a lot of that just by outworking people.
Yeah. So basically Sabine is Rudy Rudiger.
Rudy. I didn't think of that. Yeah. I wouldn't. I would say that Sabine isn't quite like Rudy, but because she's more than competent in her own right. But yeah, she does have that kind of like scrappy, like, you know, Mandalorian background.
The water boy is part of the team. He is. You got to be really good at it, too. Let's see. Rolando has joined us. I wanted to point that out. I think somebody else came in. Blue Sasquatch was asking if it was live. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, so I think it's really interesting. I like how it's going, where it's going, the show for the most part. There's a couple of things that bother me about the show, and I like the length of the episodes, of the first couple of episodes. This one was kind of short. But I don't know if you guys noticed this. I feel like the scenes are kind of long. There's like this purposeful pause in like conversation and setup that just kind of makes the scene, which would normally be like a minute or 2 minutes, would make it like 3.5 minutes or something like that. I feel like there's these.
Like which scene in particular? Like which
so like that training, like the training scene or the scene where they're sitting at the table talking. I feel like there's these like pauses that don't necessarily need to be there, but I think it was to lengthen the episode. I feel like there was stuff built in like that to just lengthen the episodes.
I'm sure you could have gotten the point across in the editing room with a shorter sequence, but I did like the training scene.
I did like the training scene in general. I mean, I just think that like there were some pauses in it that I thought were purposeful, and I feel like it's because maybe they've been hearing about the episode lengths. I did like that fighter scene too, where they get in the gunner seat and stuff like that. I thought it was kind of like worthless for Ahsoka to go out on the wing of the ship or whatever, but I mean, it was cool, I guess.
Star Wars, like those are the types of things where it's like yeah, if you want something to be realistic, this isn't it. But sometimes you just need to sit back and just say, like, this is Star Wars. Let's just have fun. It might not make 100% sense, but like it looks cool. Like let's just move on from that. I was waiting for Ahsoka to do a Leia and pull herself back in, though. I was
right. Like, come pick me up. Well, you have the Force.
I was anticipating her doing that like Leia did in The Last Jedi, but that didn't end up happening.
So I saw there was something on social media about these Jedis who haven't finished their training, and there's like a list of them, and Ahsoka is obviously one of them. But that list didn't have Luke, really, right? And I guess he kind of finished his training, but did he finish his training before he went and confronted Vader and the Emperor?
I would say based on what we've seen in canon, like I think he more or less dubbed himself a Jedi Knight, right, going into Return of the Jedi. But after the events of Return of the Jedi, he's still like on a quest, right, to learn more about the Force and like find out more about the Jedi Order. So yeah, I would say Luke probably didn't complete his training, but like was probably competent enough for the events of Return of the Jedi to happen the way it did. But yeah.
All right, let's see.
I think those pauses have been in the last couple series that they've had. I think they did it a lot in Obi-Wan. Unless it was just me. I mean, some of those dialogue scenes were just like, okay, yep,
Yeah.
let's
Okay.
move on.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think it's just me because of the pacing, because maybe I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, you know, I just want to watch the story and see what the story is. Maybe if I could just read it, it'd be faster. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm on a time crunch, people.
Yeah, well, that show you want that show to have action. You want to see those characters move, and I think, and that might be why it seems like it's a little bit more prevalent on this series, maybe.
So far, though. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if there is something going on behind the scenes where they're trying to draw out episode length to at least be a half hour or whatever, like without credits, right?
Right.
And intros. I'd rather see them do less episodes and longer but less episodes. I'd rather have
like 6 episodes, but have them be all be an hour.
Like an hour plus. Yeah. I'd much rather have that than the bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, it's almost like I wish they would have done, if they have the 2 30-minute episodes, like if next week, I don't know what the length is, but if it's like 30 minutes, I wish they would have done like
double
the
feature.
First episode, waited a week, did the second episode, and then did a surprise 2 episodes together that were 30 minutes in length, right? So that you double up. So you're not like watching a half-hour show and then waiting till next week. Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah, just like anything really. I think look, in a few weeks when all of this is out, it's going to be a moot point, because people are just like, people who haven't watched it are just going to binge it, and they're not going to think twice about it, except in the event that like they're the kind of criticisms you brought up, where like if you feel like the editor should have stepped in to cut some sequences a bit to be a bit leaner. But
I think that they purposely didn't edit them down.
No. I see what you're saying.
That's what my feeling is. Okay, Left Coast is saying he rates the 3 sequels higher than part 3 of Ahsoka, and he says he's just being honest. And I will just be honest that maybe 2 of the 3 sequels, but one of them definitely doesn't rate above anything else for me.
I don't think you can compare them. I mean, you can if you want. Like
I think we did a top 10 Star Wars movies or something like that, and I rated the Christmas special higher than one of the sequel movies.
Is this something that's going to trigger me, Vern?
Maybe if you're really into The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Next. All right.
We'll just move on.
Let's move on.
What about that headless character on the cover? Right?
Yeah. Luke defeating Vader was a completion of his training. Yeah, I would agree with that. In a way, right? Like that. Well, because he went and confronted them, and he didn't give into his anger, I think is the key, right? That he stuck with the Jedi way.
Yeah.
Ahsoka seems to lack the energy of even shows like Book of Boba Fett and Kenobi. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting because to me, the Book of Boba Fett was a little bit corny but fun, and Kenobi was trying to be a little bit more serious and was a little bit more drawn out for me, but I enjoyed it. But so far, like this show feels like it's kind of in the middle.
We'll see. I have high hopes for how this, transpires by the end of the last episode. Really the only complaint I have, and I'm not sure it's even a complaint, it's just something that seems a bit weird, is that this just doesn't seem like it's Ahsoka's show, right? It's called Ahsoka.
But you feel like it's more Rebels?
Yeah. It just seems like it doesn't necessarily feel like Sabine's show or Hera's show or whatever. It just seems like
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't like, you can't call it Rebels anymore because it's
everybody's not there, right?
Age of the, well, no, it's just in the age of the New Republic, right?
So are you thinking like, because it's called Ahsoka, we should be seeing a lot of growth and storyline about Ahsoka. And so far in the first 3 episodes, we've basically been following Sabine.
Yeah.
Sabine's great.
On a that and just like a quest to find Thrawn to prevent another war, right? It just doesn't seem like it's as focused on Ahsoka, and I'm not saying what they've been doing is bad or good. Even it's just like they called the show Ahsoka, and you would kind of expect the show to center around her.
Yeah, Gap saying it's a bait and switch Disney thing, but I think in a way that could be more accurate than anything, because I think that the reason why they called it Ahsoka, in my opinion, is because we already have been introduced to the character in live action.
And she's a marketable character.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why, even though the intent was to be a multi-character show, we're just going to give everybody what they want. All the people who didn't watch any of the other Star Wars but have been watching The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, we're going to give them the one character that they know, that we've already introduced, that we probably had some good reception to in when that character was on screen. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna pull this up really quick, because since we're talking about Ahsoka, this is the HasLab update. A week ago, it had 11,446 backers, and we have the Ezra unlocked. And this week, we're currently sitting at 12,503 backers. This is of last night, so it's not today, but this is from yesterday's numbers. What is it now?
It's a bit further along. I want to say it's 12,700.
Okay, but we need 14,000. You need 14,000 to get to the next unlock.
We will get that. Yeah, it's 12,733 right now.
Okay, so
I'm confident we'll get at least the second tier.
Okay, so 5 days left, right? Less than 5 days.
Yeah.
And you think we're going to get to Kanan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not optimistic about Zeb. I'd love to see it, but I'm not optimistic.
So I want to know who here in the chat is going to run out and buy 5 of them immediately right now, just to pump up the numbers.
Can I chime in as a backer of this?
Yes. You want to do your pitch? You want me to make you full screen?
No. I'm not trying to pitch anything unless someone from Hasbro's listening in.
Okay.
I think I understand the desire to have launched the campaign at San Diego Comic-Con, right? Makes sense. I guess it's a bit unfortunate that the launch of the first episode or episodes of Ahsoka didn't happen at the same time, right? But I get launching the thing at SDCC. The campaign should not end mid-season for Ahsoka. It's just to me, it's either just an arbitrary marketing decision to end it in 4 days and 8 hours or whatever.
Right.
Or the tail is wagging the dog here, and the factory and logistics teams are basically telling Hasbro, you need to end the campaign so that we can just start production, because you're asking us to do all these other things as well. And we can't do anything unless you end it on this date. That to me is stupid. If I were the marketing team at Hasbro, I would be saying, and just extend the campaign, figure out the factory issues. If it means pushing out other products, so be it. This is a big enough product that we should be extending it through at least the end of Ahsoka, or a little bit later. We haven't even seen the ghost, right? Yeah. Right. We haven't even seen some people.
That's the thing.
Part of it maybe showed up. I know the Phantom 2 was in there obviously in the second episode, but come on, you use your heads here. You want people, if you've got people looking at watching Ahsoka, you haven't seen the ghost, you're not going to get any buy-in from people who are not avid collectors and in the know on the collecting community, right?
I'm with you on that. So I also think that if it's going to close in 5 days, I would hope that there was some sort of a partnership going on that Tuesday we're going to actually see the ghost.
If we don't, that is the silliest thing. Like if we don't see the ghost in the next episode,
Right.
and
they don't extend the
they
HasLab.
don't extend the HasLab, like what boneheads are making the decisions there? I'm sorry. Like this is just like
Okay, you really want me to answer that question?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Yeah.
same people who wrote that they're going to be issuing a Luke Skywalker X-Wing PLA.
PLA.
Okay, I mean, those are the same people that are doing this HasLab. They can't spell
that's
correctly. They can't spell MOMA correctly.
The same people that launched
on their
the
professional.
Rancor.
Yeah,
I mean, Eric, you really want us to go on?
These
You opened up a rabbit hole, man.
These are the same folks that got halfway through their retro collection on their live stream, and the guy looked down and said, "Oh, well, it looks like we have some more." I'm like, wait, you're not doing a mental count in your head, dude.
That stuff is weird, right? Like I'm not gonna be super critical about the spelling errors or whatever, but like to me, the only acceptable answer is, well, the factory can't make it happen, so we have to end the campaign early. But even in that scenario, wouldn't you think that just extending the production timelines just makes sense?
I honestly don't think that their production start window is set.
Well, we don't know that. That's a black box.
Right. I don't think that it is. I think that they have a specific time limit that they decided for a HasLab. So if we started on this date, it's going to run for, I think, 45 days. I think that's their like plan, right?
Yeah, and but that's an arbitrary decision. Sorry to cut you off, but that's
okay. It's one of those like somebody said a football game is 4 quarters, so nobody has ever decided to say, why don't we just do 2 halves? You know what I mean? Like their first HasLab ran for a certain number of days, so then they just stuck with that so they could call it a HasLab. They didn't want to change the parameters. Now, I know Sonny's saying maybe they extend it like they did with the Dragonfly. They actually blame that on coding for their app. They say that their app had the wrong date, so they just extended it.
It did. They did the right thing in that scenario based on the miscommunication.
I agree.
Their website and application, but yeah.
I thought I was the only one that thought this, but I see Rick mentioned it in the comments. So the other option that I was thinking why they're cutting it off early is because they're only going to show it on the final episode and then blow it up.
No, it shows up in the Rise of Skywalker. It doesn't blow up. No, I know, but like you would think that maybe that is a reason why, but like we see it in the Rise of Skywalker, and unless they just reconstruct it or whatever.
Yeah, I think that it's just like, I think they're just missing an opportunity. I honestly think that these guys are like sort of winging it. Who's that guy in the stream? So you have the 2 main people, and then that's Emily off to the side, right? And then who's the guy, the tall guy that's always
Eric,
in there?
Eric. Okay, he's a designer for the Black Series.
He just seemed completely uninterested.
I just
first half of that presentation had nothing to say, no comment. Basically, just felt uncomfortable having to stand there. I just think he's tired.
I've talked to that guy at length at Star Wars Celebration. He's a cool dude. He's one of us. I guarantee that. I've been on record saying that before. Well, he is not the problem at Hasbro. I guarantee that.
Then maybe the look that he actually has is, I can't believe we're having to do this again.
That's it,
right? Like, why can't we just do the stuff that people are asking for? And in the back of his mind, he's completely disinterested because he knows nothing there is what people are really like talking. You know,
it's hard. It's hard when like I can sense from talking to him like last year, like he's one of us. He cares about the same things, but like this is also his job, and he's got it like right like. You got to toe the party line at some point.
No, I totally get that. I mean, you air your differences in the conference room, but once you guys walk out, you got a game plan. You got to stick with it.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board with that idea. I'm not gonna make a big deal at all about the spelling at all. I saw it once. I'm not gonna mention it. I didn't mention it at all. I didn't make any video. All right, let's move on from the ghost.
But, like, can I ask, like,
Yeah.
was that just your kind of like sarcasm more than anything? Or
Yeah,
I figure, but you're the type of person where people can't tell if you're being serious or not, right? Like,
listen,
because you say things with such conviction and such a straight face, like you rarely break and crack like you are right now.
I try my hardest not to. I mean, I guess years of practice or whatever, but I think it's funny. I mean, I answered. I think Left Coast left a comment on that. My one where I did the yodeler. Did you see that one? I did the little Price is Right yodeler, and I put like a little X-wing. I was trying to make it like the tip of his little pickaxe. So I was like, when you misspell when they say they're going to release the PLA, what do you have to do? Yodel, and it's right, whatever. And I just said, like, I think in the comments I was like, when Hasbro misspells something, I think it's like my favorite time of year or something like that. I was like, it's just fun because like. But honestly, if you go back, read half of my tweets, I guarantee you that I got plenty of misspelling. So I'm like almost the last person who should be telling anybody about their spelling.
Sure.
I make up words. My figures are very articulable, even though they can't speak.
Dan, did you back the ghost by any chance, or
no?
No.
All right, let's yeah. Oh, they're like, it's wrong. That Rancor eating a stormtrooper, and that was funny to me when she said that, right? When she was like, "Oh, that pivotal scene where the Rancor eats a stormtrooper." I mean, I know that's just like a miss because you're like live and you're talking. You know what I mean? But it's fun to pick on that kind of stuff.
People need, it may be fun, but some people do need to lighten up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, so for Jonathan, we got the Cat Slayer from Super 7. Last week it was at 3,269 backers, and this week it's at a whopping 3,309 backers. So you're almost going to get your tier 1 for your Super 7 Cat Slayer. I know Dan's all in on this one.
That's pretty cool.
Have you seen all the pics on it? On the back, it's like at the little control rooms and stuff in there. This thing's
I have not. What's the size? Looks like
it's
big.
It stands, I think, like almost 4 feet tall or 3.5 feet tall or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it's actually really, really. So it's like your Lion-O. Like if you had the 7-inch Lion-O or whatever, he would barely come up to the foot. The blue foot.
No way.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But it's expensive. It's what? $650. Right? Yeah. I think it's pricey personally. Jonathan, thanks for buying it for me. Yeah. Sonny would back it if it was 6-inch. So if it was a 6-inch scale, he says he would be in. And we talked about
that would be insane.
Yeah. That would be super cool if that was a 6-inch. I think you'd get a lot of people interested in a 6-inch vehicle. But this thing right here is, we talked about this before, like in one episode, like at what price would you definitely jump in? And I think I was right around 200 maybe.
For this thing?
Yeah. I think that 650 is way too high.
So it's 3 stories high, 1/12 scale stories high, right?
Yeah.
Looks like it's, I mean,
that's pretty cool, but it's Super 7 and I'm just not collecting any Super 7 stuff really.
God, I'm looking at the back of it here. It does look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe for what it is, maybe 350, 400, if I had the interest in the line.
This is a big problem because like, let me see. I have this picture. Let me see if I can find this one. I took a screenshot of something.
And when did they open this up? When did they start the backing?
Was it San Diego Comic-Con or?
Yeah, it's at the Comic-Con, I think.
And it's already.
We've been talking about it like every week almost, and the first week we did the whole thing about like, oh, check this out. So have you seen the sewer thing from that they're coming out with? Right, it's like $350 or whatever for the sewer. And I know I know that thing holds up the other parts of the building. But here's a dio that somebody's working on. I grabbed this picture, and
Nice.
I think this is nearly the same scale, right? This is obviously PVC piping. It's from M Marvel Customs at Instagram. And then he made like the little doors here and stuff like that. And, this is that blue foam board or whatever, right? Looks like the thinner one because it looks thinner on the bottom. So far, this guy's probably only about 40, 50 bucks in.
Not even.
Yeah. Right. So I think that's pretty cool. And then, so Left Coast is saying that Ramen Toys is actually making like a sewer, and I think it's going to be like parts, right, that you can assemble. Yeah. I did not get pictures of that playset. I just thought this was interesting because somebody's already got it, like kind of mostly assembled, right? So I thought that was kind of cool to show off. And I think it's interesting, right, to say, hey, we got somebody building that $350 set for less than $100 maybe. And then Ramen Toys. I'll pull up Ramen and see if I can.
Have you ever seen Diorama prints?
No, I haven't actually.
A couple times. They have a sewer display, and it's like whatever they do to print that stuff. It comes on thick cardstock, and you have to put your own backing on it. But I've done a couple of quite a few actually, my photos on Instagram using their stuff, and they have a sewer one, and it's a double story, and I think it's only $40. But there's no interactive pieces to it, but you can't. Everything looks very, very real on it.
Right. So this is from Ramen Toys Instagram. So you can see what they're doing is they have multi-level sewer, and it's basically going to be like a bunch of printed parts. So, realistically, if you had the files on something like this, you could probably print something like that out, and make your own. It's Ramen's Ace Layer. We don't know what the prices of this will be yet, but I don't think, right? If somebody knows how much this is going to be. But I know that NECA one was built to hold
those other like cardboard ones, or
was built to hold like the city scene on top of it, so you could have like the sewer, then the street level, then the building, whatever, which looks kind of cool. Let's see. Juan Toys and Bricks is saying Ramen IG have pictures of Ace's layer. I think that's what we just showed. I think that company's interesting. The other thing I wanted to show off about that was about Ramen. We were talking about it. Remember we were talking, Eric, were you here when we were talking about PowerCon and the Ramen Racer?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and then Waze was saying that he saw that there was like a Ghost Rider figure in there.
Yeah.
And then I was saying, no, I think they just used the Marvel Legends Ghost Rider. And I was like pretty adamant that no, they were just showing it off to scale. Well, I just watched one of their videos, so I did a screen grab on this, and they were talking about how the price was. They had an early bird 150, and then now it's up to 200 for that Ramen Racer. They have this figure that they're going to do, I think 3,000 units of. It's going to have like a light up head, right? And it's a 1/12 scale action figure, 6 inches, and they're calling it Agent Scully.
Huh.
So
I wonder if they're going to get a cease and desist from Hasbro.
Who knows? Unless just saying 3,000 units is not enough to say it's a huge profit margin for Hasbro to like say, oh yeah, we're going to go after them for the 3,000 figures or something, because if it's just like a crowdfund deal.
I'd expect like Marvel and Hasbro to go after them because like Marvel's not getting any licensing fees from that, and it's their IP, and Hasbro has the license for that scale. So it's really interesting to me that I think I was wrong. So I wonder if that figure they had was a prototype of their Agent Scully. I'm not sure. that was
Disney.
several weeks ago. I wasn't sure if it was this one or if it like I thought it was more of like a Johnny Cage figure.
I thought it was a Legends figure that they had, but now I'm not sure. Now I'm wondering if they had that. So I think that's really interesting too, that they had that. I do want to show you guys one picture because I know we've talked about this, and this is kind of like just getting off to the side. Do you remember that we've been having this conversation once in a while about like UFOs and Bigfoot and stuff like that? And somebody had said on here, with everybody carrying around a high definition camera, there's no reason why these pictures would be blurry. Right? Do you remember this at all? So I'm gonna share this picture. This was taken yesterday, and you guys tell me what it is.
Rick, close your eyes. We don't want to give him anxiety.
What the?
Exactly. And this this is taken with a high definition
But it
camera
looks like
on a
it's
phone.
like going through a window.
Yes, and there was plenty of time to take the picture. So, I mean, everyone's looking at it. Can anybody tell me what this is? And Rick is saying, someone say Bigfoot. And this is why we don't have a clear picture of a UFO or Bigfoot, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Okay. I'll just zoom in on it, see if you can tell. So this car rolled down a hill and went into a house. And these are the people standing on the side of the road, and somebody took a picture from their window of this accident as it was happening. So that's why it's so blurry, but it's like you got a high definition phone, you take a picture and it comes out blurry. I think that like if you're running from some Bigfoot, you're not getting a clear picture. Right?
I mean, if something's moving fast enough or you're going through like a window and whatnot, that's foggy. Yeah.
Okay, so Juan Toys and Bricks is saying maybe Ramen Toys knows how many is the limit to make without getting a cease and desist or sued from IP owners. That's what I was thinking too when he said it's going to be like 3,000 and that's it. And it's a crowd fund, right? Like I don't know if that's like a difference. Like if I can say crowd fund a figure, that's like my interpretation of some character or something like that.
How do we know for sure that they didn't get the okay?
Oh, they might have. I mean, I doubt it because we'll talk about that Marshall again when we start doing the reveals, because we talked about it a little bit last week, but I wanted to bring it up again. I think that when you look at that guy, obviously it's Bravestar, but they're not calling it Bravestar. He's calling it the Marshall, right?
Yeah, the dude. Yeah,
it's almost like if you go to Teesprings and you make a Star Wars T-shirt, you don't ever put the word Star Wars in like the description. Otherwise, you're going to immediately have that yanked because they're just going to, oh no, Star Wars, we got to get rid of it.
The mouse is going to be on your door.
Yeah, Area 51. Good guess. Yeah. Okay. So Left Coast. Yes, he knows it's a dollar amount. So then there's a dollar amount where they don't. Apparently, Rick knows apparently what the dollar amount is. So I did want to do the shout out of the week. We've been doing this for the last 3 weeks. And if you're not following Hops World over on Instagram, give them a follow. Been checking out some of their pictures, and I thought I'd show a couple of them off. I think that looks pretty cool. I mean, obviously that's a little tiny toy, but it does look like it's got some scale to it.
He's pretty awesome.
Really cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
And then there's the Godzilla. I think these are the only two pictures, but I think that everything about that picture looks really cool to me.
And what's cool about what I like about him and the way his method is, he doesn't do a whole lot of editing and he doesn't have a whole lot of fancy stuff. He just has a very simple setup. I've talked to him before. He's used things like t-shirts for color.
Yep.
You know, cardboard for background and just stuff that's sitting around his house. He's not a pro or anything like that. He's into the hobby.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. So I pulled that picture. I pulled this picture. I think that was all I got off his Instagram. But if you want to give him a follow, there he is on Instagram. Take a look at him. Give him a follow. He's got some pictures up there, and I think it looks pretty cool. So we'll do some more of that next week when we come back.
Cool.
Let's hold on. Like Godzilla looks cool. Yeah. Wand Toys and Bricks. If they don't use the name of the IP and they do X amount of quantities, it's okay.
Really?
Yeah. And if you don't download a movie that's in theater, all of the movie from the same person, it's okay. Was that the theory behind that, like Napster and stuff, that it was like 10 people giving you a part of one song, so it was okay? Yeah.
No, I thought it was okay because you were sharing it.
Oh, is that what it was? Like, yeah, like
it was a combination. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just giving you a mixtape. You just mix it yourself. Yeah. Okay.
So
all right.
Somebody at some point in time had bought the rights to it, and everybody else was just sharing.
So I did do those pictures with Snow Job and the Snow Serpent, and my background is a kitchen garbage bag.
All right.
I like that.
And I did a couple of them, and it looked best when I did the ice climbing looking pictures. And basically what I did was I just put them in the corner and laid them down on the ground. And then turned my camera. Right. But it has that little diamond pattern in it, so it kind of gave that effect a little bit. I thought it was kind of cool.
And you'll get some shine off it as well. Make it look icy. Yeah.
Yeah, for snow it wasn't that great, but for the ice it looked good. He makes things look big. Yep. It's 100% true. Snow is free. Not in San Diego. You got to go buy it. You got to hire a truck. It's got to come out. He's got to turn it into ice with one of those wood chipper things. Have you guys ever seen that? Where they come out? Yeah, he could. Have you seen the video of like where people like are saving their boiled water for later? Oh, they always tell you in the cooking, they're like, oh, and just save some of this boiled water for like later or whatever, and they put it in a bag. Have you seen this?
Well, I mean, I've seen like people put like pasta water in the sauce, if that's your thing, but
yeah. So there's a guy, he's making fun of the people who save off their boiled water, and he's like, here's how you save your boiled water. And then he like pretends to put the water into a bag, and then he seals it up and it's an empty bag. And he goes, and then you can just dehydrate it. This is like dehydrated water or whatever. And when you want to reconstitute it, you just add like 2 cups of water.
Wait, dehydrated water?
It's like the dumbest video.
That's an oxymoron.
It's like an empty bag, and then you pour water in to rehydrate the water. It's so funny. It's so dumb. It's like funny, right?
They come with a bag of sea monkeys too.
Skating rinks, parks in San Diego. No, I think we have one indoor hockey rink somewhere in town. Zambonis. Let's see. The issue is more for quantities. There is a case of blood shoes or something like that. Nike sued or make a cease and desist because of after X amount is considered mass production. Okay. All right. Those are all good things to know. You guys want to do the reveals? Okay.
That's interesting stuff.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, I am putting up this Marshall again. This is Ramen Toys. And did you watch Bravestar as a kid or anything like that?
I have no idea what this IP is.
Okay, so Filmation, the same company that made He-Man back in the mid 80s, did a cartoon called Bravestar, and he was like a space cowboy or whatever. And then Marshall, he was like a space police officer, and he had his like horse and stuff like that. And it was actually a pretty halfway decent show. I don't know how many people will say they actually watched it, because I think a lot of people were just not as interested in that time in like a kind of a Western type show. But it does have kind of a small following to it. And then, so I think it's interesting. And the reason why I think this is super interesting to me is because about 6-7 months ago, I was looking for a cowboy hat for an action figure because I wanted to make a custom of this guy. I don't know why all of a sudden I felt like, oh, I should make a Bravestar. And I never got around to it. So I'm kind of like, think it's really cool that this guy's coming out.
Looks like they did a good job. Lots of accessories.
So they had, I guess normally this guy's going to be like upwards of $100 or whatever, but they had like a early bird special. I don't know if that's still going on. I had their website. I should have just looked.
It looks like a GI Joe.
Yeah, it's a 6-inch figure that's like based on a GI, the same type of articulation. Yeah, it's $69 early bird price right now.
That color scheme is ridiculous, though.
Yeah, well, it's similar to cartoon. You know what I'm going to do? Let's see.
He's like he should be matching Alley Viper from GI Joe.
I'm going to pull up an image of actual Bravestar, okay, like from the cartoon, so that you can kind of get a frame of reference. So this is a picture of the Bravestar from the cartoon. So the color scheme, it's still that same color scheme, but if you look at this one right here, probably a little bit more yellow, maybe.
Yeah.
Than tannish.
The cartoon shot looked a bit more toned down. This is a bit more like in your face.
Yeah. And then of course he's wearing his.
Well, actually, now that I look at it,
what?
That orange doesn't look as orange on the right picture. Or is it just me?
On the yeah,
like the one on the right looks more like that picture you just showed. The two figure shots on the left has that bright Alley Viper orange, but not the other one.
Right.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. Well, he's got a shield. He's got a shield in the small picture off to the side. He's got a shield in his arm too. So he's got this like star. The star down here is like a shield. So if you do the early bird, you're getting some extras that you don't get anywhere else. Mm-hmm. And so he's got the different outfits and stuff like that. Lobot is saying he loved the show. It's cool, but he will not be buying it. Rick is saying he just doesn't see more than 100 people interested in the IP. He's very negative today. Bravestar was. Yeah. Sonny is saying Bravestar was not a bad cartoon. There's even an episode where somebody dies. The episode is called The Price, a very good one. Yeah. So a little bit of backstory on this. My oldest brother, who's in TV animation, he was working at Filmation at the time. He actually worked on the feature. There was like an hour-and-a-half movie they made before the show came out. And he actually was like an assistant animator on that Bravestar movie. And I got to go to the premiere at Filmation Studios or whatever, where they had their theater. And it was like, all I remember about it was like the movie, seeing the movie and getting free hot dogs.
All right.
It was like a free concessions at the theater. I thought that was kind of cool. So, and I was 86, so I think I was 16 at the time or something like that. So it was kind of cool.
All right. I was -1.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. So anyways, we had some pictures. We had some pictures of these come out recently, but they fully released them, and these are up for pre-order. These are the Infinity Saga Marvel Legends figures. Is anybody interested in updating their Marvel Legends with the newer Thor figure?
No, I don't really do MCU figures. I don't do many Legends to begin with, but I think it's good that they're putting them out there in case people do want to get them.
Sure.
But Rick,
I'm only positive. I'm looking forward to seeing Dandy getting verified this weekend, make it official and exclusive. That's a whole wave release.
Vernified.
Yeah. Oh, is that vernified? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, because I've been doing a little caricature of everybody when they come on.
Oh,
so, yeah. So
can I rant? Can I rant?
Yes.
Since you're only because you pulled this one up next, I'm sure. Are you going to show the rest of them?
Yes.
I won't. I will. I'll just do it this one time. This is such an obvious cash grab. There's nothing different on these figures. It's the rest of the ones that he's going to show, and I guarantee you, because of that Infinity Saga, they're going to try a price point of $29.99 with no build a figure, very little accessories, and it's very disappointing. Like they could have done so much more with a different wave, or because they're branching out with all these crazy characters like they did with the last couple waves. They've gone really deep into the Marvel world. But man, it's just I can't get behind this line. Anyway, like I'm done.
I don't see a problem with it as like if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. I suppose there's the criticism is like, does it mean you don't get other new figures, right? If you are looking forward to stuff like the opportunity cost of reproducing these, but yeah.
So here's the thing: like a couple of years ago, they started the Infinity Saga line, right, where they were going to be, where they kind of started re-releasing all these Marvel figures that were a little bit updated. That's one where we got the Tony Stark with the new Thanos, and then we got the they had that Walmart exclusive, the Nomad or whatever, Captain America, Chris Evans, and stuff like that, right? We had the Captain Marvel with the rescue armor. That was all Infinity Saga set. Yeah. So this is part of that line. The interesting thing is here, what I failed to do was I failed to enlarge that little small head, and I'll probably post it on my Twitter. I'll take the picture, enlarge it. I almost think that that's supposed to be Matt Damon as Thor.
It just looks like a smirk.
Let me see if I could do it. Hold on. I have the raw picture. So let me double click on that. I'm going to zoom in on that head, and you tell me if that's supposed to be Matt Damon when he was doing the play and he was Thor. Okay.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. Because why has he got that smile on his face?
It's like a smirk, but it I think it's trying to be like a smirk, but it just kind of looks like a derpy face.
Yeah, but doesn't the beard look kind of weird too, because it goes up the sides a little bit? I don't think Thor had that, right?
I still see Chris Hemsworth there. I don't see Matt Damon, but I
was just thinking it was like the Matt Damon because well, they look a lot alike, but I didn't know if that's what it was supposed to be, if it was supposed to be Matt Damon's head, and that's why they did added that in there, right?
Let's see. That would have been funny, and I would be right on board with that.
Bravestar, Galaxy Rangers, Saber Riders were good Western space operas.
Wait, wasn't Matt Damon Loki?
No, it was in wasn't it in Ragnarok when he went back to
but
before it got destroyed? And this is the Ragnarok Thor, isn't it?
But what I'm saying was, didn't Matt Damon play Loki and Chris Hemsworth's brother play Thor?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just thought when I first saw it, I was like,
like
when he lets a silent fart rip in the Avengers meeting. Okay.
I like that.
All right. Here's the Spider-Man. Now, somebody commented that they said that this is the wrong outfit, but this is the Civil War outfit. So they commented on my post. They said that this was the wrong outfit, but I think it's the correct outfit for Civil War.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. I mean, if you don't have the unmasked Tobey Maguire, it's a good way to get one, I guess, if you don't have one already. That's okay. Don't worry about typos. We all misspell stuff. Even Hasbro. When they try to spell the word pilot.
We get our characters wrong.
All right. So I'll just move. Well, go ahead.
Like Eric said, it's a chance for somebody that doesn't have it, to get it now and not pay the aftermarket cost. But they could have easily easily made these the same price point, and I know they're going to make it 29.
Let me tell you,
that would be unfortunate if they did that. Yeah.
So in Hasbro's email, they said $24.99 is the suggested retail for these figures. So that's regular price, but you're not getting a Build-A-Figure.
True.
Yeah.
Well, you remember the last time they did that? They tried putting 27 on it.
Yes, that was ridiculous. But if you go to my Target, it'll probably be $28 on the peg.
That's right. You're just
yeah. Let's see. No effects, just the figure and swappable hands. Okay.
Yeah, just not worth. I don't even know if that's worth the 25. I mean,
yeah.
Like I said, for somebody to get it if they don't have it, sure.
So these are out of order, but I decided to throw this guy in here just because this one comes with a whole bunch of accessories, right? And it's also suggested retail for this spider. Oh no, this one is actually $27.99. So $3 more to get all the extra hands and the webs and these underarm effects. Right. So out of these two, which one would you go for?
The retro for sure.
Yeah, the retro, but not because the other one's not good. It's just I don't like MCU figures.
Yeah. No, okay, I get it. I think this one looks pretty decent. I don't have one with the blue, but so this would be a good substitute to have like a kind of a classic looking Spider-Man, but I don't really like that dark blue black underarm. But I do like the underarm webbings and stuff like that. Retro Spidey looks good. Yeah. Let's see. What is Sunny saying? Another proof that Hasbro does not work by the minimum maximum principle and instead tries to fictionally the fictional optimum principle. Okay, these are business terms probably that I have no. The maximum profit, the least financial effort. I think it's because they're reusing existing molds and just cranking out the same figure and just changing the box. So they're spending very little to do any updates, and then they're just making money on it again. Here's the Moon Knight. Moonlight looks pretty good, but I mean, I think everybody already has a Moon Knight, right?
Yeah, that was I don't see anything different on this one than that Walgreens exclusive.
Yeah. Except for the card
package. They re-released that though, didn't they?
I think you might be right. And this is $24.99. This is where.
Yeah, I think they did this comics one more recently.
Okay.
I can't remember.
This is where it's interesting because their suggested retail for this one is $24.99, but the Spider-Man is $27.99.
Spider-Man tax.
Right. Spider-Man.
He beat me to it.
Garnered the premium price. Yeah.
Spider-Man and Boba Fett team up.
All right. Here's where I think they missed an opportunity with War Machine. There is all these other Infinity Saga figures that they have in this wave, and all my slides are dedicated to proving it, is War Machine does not have an unmasked head. But all the other ones are either unmasked or there's the one Mark II that has the open visor. Let's go to saying poor choice of a white background. I agree with you.
That's unfortunate, but my guess is the way that gets rationalized is for the price point to maintain whatever kind of margins they have. They're going to argue more plastic, more details. So
to not give you the head?
The head got, my guess is that's what they sacrificed as a result. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just speculating.
I mean, this guy comes with a swappable head. This guy comes with a swappable head. I mean, sure, they're giving you all these extra pieces of armament on here, but I mean,
I'm arguing that. No. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying like the figure looks bulkier, has more like we've seen enough of the streams to kind of predict what they would say is like more plastic, more deco, right? To maintain the price point so that we don't bump it up. Like we had to sacrifice something, and we thought the accessories were more interesting than like doing Don Cheadle's head.
The problem is I'm trying to find. Well,
that or like maybe Don Cheadle didn't give away the rights to his likeness.
That's what I really think, because I don't think we've seen his Secret Invasion figure yet either, right? So I think it's a matter of his face. Left Coast is saying it's because there's 2 actors and we're not sure, but War Machine never had 2 actors. It was Jim Rhodes was played by 2 actors, but never since he became War Machine.
Yeah, it was only Don Cheadle in the MCU.
So this is the hiding in ice Captain America.
See, that head does not look as much like Chris Evans as.
Do you think it's the hair color?
It's definitely the hair color. That's throwing it off.
I think it throws everything. It is? Yeah, I think it throws it off a little bit.
I think the lips are like a bit too like kissy. He's like doing Zoolander like Magnum or Blue Steel.
It's true. This is supposedly the stealth armor or whatever it was
from Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And then you got I don't. This is to me
Mark Ruffalo.
The funniest thing about having a figure like this is when they try to crank out like 7 different character type poses for this figure. There's not a whole lot you can pose this guy doing. So one of them is the high, one of them is the I don't know, and and then he's like his head hurts, and it's just kind of like a funny situation to have like a figure like this. I think they would have been better off. Well, I guess it's fine. I just wish. I
mean, they did comics banner recently, so
yeah, they could have just given us 2 heads with that one. Let's see. Sunny is saying, unfortunately, no extended club, no fire effects. My favorite is still the 2020 Deluxe War Machine. I agree with you. Terrence Howard was War Machine and Iron Man. No, he was not War Machine and Iron Man.
He didn't have armor.
Jim Rhodes. He was standing in.
He did was he looked at
it. Look at the armor and say, next time.
Maybe next time.
That's what happened. And then he got in the car and drove away. They did not want to pay him more. Yeah, so they hired Don Cheadle. And his story is the same as Christy Alley in Star Trek, right? She felt like she should get a higher wage, and then they just replaced her for Star Trek 3. But this is a $25 figure, and he comes with 2 fists.
This isn't as bad as to me the Morgan Elsbeth situation.
Oh, that is awful. Zero. Oh, we'll talk about that. Zero pieces. And then of course you got the Black Widow, and I'm not sure, is this supposed to be like an updated sculpt with the newer articulation that they just came out with? Did they say that when they were announcing this one?
I don't know. It looks good. It looks like a good figure.
Yeah. So I took well, I don't have it handy. I don't know where it is, but I took one of the new head sculpts that came with that new Target exclusive, and I put it on because I have the older version of this figure, and I just did the head swap and put that one to make it more like a comic book style, but with this outfit, I think looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Left Coast is saying he thought he took it for a test ride. Yeah, he wished, as he wanted more money before he put on the armor. And then of course the Tony Stark, and I think we had this head, right? Because they gave us the head when they gave us the previous iteration, the one with Thanos, so it was probably easy just to do another Tony Stark head.
Yeah, well, and I think the last Infinity,
right? The Infinity Saga one where he came with Thanos, he had but that was a armor mark 5 million or something.
No,
it was just a different, yeah.
And then then we'll just jump right into Star Wars. They had their stream. What do you think? What do you think, Eric? You happy with Ezra?
It's his look from from
the hologram
4 or whatever of Rebels, season 5 or whatever. It looks like it looks like a fine figure. The unfortunate thing is this is just nitpicky. It's not going to make a difference once it's on my shelf, but the lightsaber is not accurate. So that is his lightsaber, but that's after Sabine had it. So like after, like at the end of Rebels season 5, Ezra gives it gives his lightsaber to Sabine to hold on to, and she modifies it to what it looks like in the Ahsoka series,
which is what he's got now.
Which is what he has now, not like what it looked like before, like Sabine modded it.
So since this is supposed to be an Ahsoka figure, and you know they've been given some information, do you think that this is a spoiler then?
No, I think it's just that same accessory is packed with Sabine.
But of course, because she's got it in the show. But do you think that when he shows up, there's something that happens and she ends up giving him his lightsaber back that he has to use it?
It's possible, but I doubt he'd have this costume like this. I doubt he'd be wearing the same stuff. I think this is just a case of like, well, the lightsaber's not. It's different, but it's not too different to warrant like doing two separate molds of essentially the same lightsaber hilt. So that's it.
All right.
And we haven't seen enough of the actor in Ahsoka to see whether or not that's actually a good kind of like face sculpt for him in the show.
They're talking about the outfit being like 10 years old and hoping that it's stretchy and that he washed it.
He's just wearing. He's been wearing the same clothes.
So basically,
Rebels.
Left Coast is saying that this is a cash grab because this is the hologram version of Ezra, and it like maybe like a futuristic version if he would have lived based on that. And he thinks there's going to be another Ezra, which will come out in like a year after the show, kind of like the Mandalorian fooled us by giving us the Mandalorian armor that he only wore in episode 1, and then made us wait a year for Beskar armor Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. What about this Huyang or whatever?
I love this guy.
This is awesome. So if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, watch the arc with Huyang in it. Is some of the coolest few episodes where like kids go off to get their kyber crystals and whatnot, and he helps. Like he's basically got the Jedi database of all of the like Jedi lightsabers out there, right?
So do you think this could have been a deluxe and they could have packaged them with like 4 sabers?
I wish they would have had the like 4 like not training sabers, but like they were the like training like sticks with the hot, like it showed like the slice directions. Like that would have been cool if you had 4 of those with the like big kind of tubes attached. That would have set this figure apart. I think some people are complaining that the deco on the figure isn't quite as like, it doesn't have the kind of like silvery shine that they would have expected from the show, but it looks like a cool figure.
Let's see, Left Coast. I like the droids. 50-50 on him. Want to wait to see how the show goes first. Do you think it was irresponsible that they did not move out of the hospital before putting everybody in the hospital in danger with that like robot head? They were too much in a hurry to think about everybody else who was like in the hospital.
Wasn't enough time.
It's Star Wars, Vern.
All right.
Don't think too much.
All right. What about Mr. Rusty here?
Moron.
So the rust is on the armor. Flat out.
In the latest episode, yeah.
Well, not even just in the ship. If you go back to when you see him in the fight, when he fights Ahsoka,
it's not as
on Corellia. Well, it's rusty. The problem with this is that they probably overdid it with the rust a little bit, but on top of that, I think the sculpt looks awesome, but the armor is just maybe a shade or too light. It should be maybe a bit darker, not necessarily black, but like the armor the armor being lighter than I think it should be also accentuates the overdoing it with the rust deco.
Connor doesn't really have any criticisms about the figure at all. He says he loves his paint schemes, thinks that the fact that there's 0 butterfly joints, that it's single jointed, doesn't have any ab articulation, has a trigger finger, even though he carries the sabers, and has the wrong accessory.
That is probably the most frustrating thing with Star Wars with like lightsaber only wielders, or like anyone who doesn't use a blaster. Why on earth do you have trigger fingers? It's so stupid.
It's a standard hand is why, probably.
I know, but it's just like, come on.
I think he looks cool. He totally is reminiscent to me, or reminds me completely of like the Knights of Ren, which I'm still disappointed we didn't get more of the Knights of Ren. We only got the one Umpire figure. But from pictures, I felt like in his ship he looked just as rusty as this, but when he was fighting Ahsoka, he wasn't as rusty.
I think it was just the lighting. I when I saw the figure, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is. Then you went back and watched it. I rewatched and like paused on some of the stills when he was fighting Ahsoka. It is there. It's just It's just it's the lighting more than
I figured there was a lot of salt water in the air, got on his armor. He didn't wipe it off right away and it rusted.
They were right next to the ocean.
They were, yeah.
I think
that water could have been really salt water.
I think the bigger deal to me is I think the armor should be a bit darker and it would look a bit better.
Okay, so Left Coast thinks it's Sabine's brother, Tristan. It's the Kung Fu grip, yeah. That's a lost thing. Or lack. Shrek. Yeah. I'm thinking that the dude's going to be nobody we know.
I'm with you
to make him anybody.
This dude is a total red shirt grunt, and everyone at Lucasfilm is laughing their ass off at all of these theories. Right? This dude's gonna get
all of them. Only the Left Coast theories.
So so in the next episode, based on like what we've seen in the trailers, I would totally like you see Ahsoka on that planet Cetos fighting fighting Balin, right?
Right.
So like I imagine they're gonna get there, but maybe Merrick and Shinhati or whatever are going to be there too. I have to believe that like Ahsoka and Sabine just totally murk this dude.
Okay. I think the dude's. Oh, you know what would be interesting is if he kills one of them, the other one has to cut him in half at the waist. The lightsaber won't kill him. He'll fall in a pit, and later he'll have spider legs.
This is a badass looking figure though. Like
it does look
really criticisms aside, this looks awesome.
Yeah, it does look cool. Except for I can see a lot of potential on this figure to do other stuff with it too. And this is the one you were talking about?
Yeah. She looks awesome. This is an awesome, like everything about what you see is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like it doesn't come with the star map or any of the like. You have all of those effects.
So I made sure
use those Marvel Legends effects and do green.
Yeah.
Right?
So I made sure in this picture to capture all of the accessories that this figure comes with.
Very detailed, Fern.
Yeah, it's like, what are they thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think I've seen enough or like heard enough where I think people explain that what happens with like each wave is that there's like a set budget per wave and they need to maintain like certain margins for the entire wave. It's not based like figure by figure for like a mainline wave. So my guess is they put more money. They just didn't put as much money into it, and they just said screw it. right?
Well, Ways of the Sith has a review of the Wave, right? So he has this figure already, and he was saying that at least the skirt is cut in such a way that
You can pose it.
It will articulate. So I mean, that's a plus, but I don't think that it's enough to say, for me, unless I find this thing for $10 on clearance, I'll never have this figure.
I'm gonna get it, right? Like I've ordered it. I'm not too thrilled that it doesn't come with the star map or any kind of like Night Sister effect.
It's, I mean, even the Bix character, the Bix figure, came with like a little data pad.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Let's see. Left Coast said lame. Sunny said fail. $5 tops for him. The end of the day, the figure is lackluster, but Hasbro made it, so it's great. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's still in the hopefully Hasbro will give me a sponsorship mode.
Well, the figure does look like, to me, like, I'm criticizing the lack of accessories, but
yes,
I do like the figure. The figure itself, what they did looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks decent. I mean, it looks like the character or whatever. I don't think the articulation is going to end up being that great on the figure. In the end, it'll be like it seems like they've really been cutting corners. Now, I know they did the legs different for the Ahsoka and the Boba Fett's and stuff, and I thought, okay, there's a reason, is because of the billowy pants. But then I noticed like all of the figures started going to that type of a leg, and it just, I think, they're taking away a little bit of articulation in that.
But she's more dynamic than what like Bib Fortuna and Mon Mothma are. So with the skirts.
So this guy right here is I did not put the laser gun or the rifle in the picture here. But
they're called blasters, Vern. Blasters.
Okay. I mean, is that
It's
even
like,
the right shade of red? He looks like a Sith trooper.
It I don't know. To me it looks like the shade of red is what I'm least concerned about with this. It's that they clearly knew enough to make the TVC version with the like clippable
the spear.
No. Well, the spear, but like to hold the blaster in the back. Right? Like the TVC one has that, and it has a spear, but this one was more or less a repack of the one from Mando, just with a different paint job and cloak. Right? Like I'm still getting it, but they really should have done more with that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, so they already have that HK droid out, right?
Yeah.
And couldn't you just get like one of those older HKs that are on clearance and then just paint it?
Could I?
You're not going to paint your figures, obviously, right?
Well,
so you're not.
Yeah, I'm not that type of person. Yeah.
I think if it was like me or Dan, probably be like, oh no, well, I can have this guy by just painting one up.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't paint it that bright.
Yeah, HK will look cool if repainted, I guess. But why have the cape? Well, he did kind of have a cape.
Yeah, they had the capes, or they clipped them like. Yeah, I think this is supposed to be the one that basically was the first one to talk to Ahsoka on that planet. Yeah.
So it's interesting because I'm going to go back to this figure here, and Sunny's saying this thing that it's. If they don't have any ideas for accessory, that's fine, but they should adjust the price. I guess with this figure coming with 0 accessories, I should say that now, after all these years, it was okay that they gave 3 cups to Bib Fortuna.
Well, do you think that someone at Hasbro was saying, well, everyone made such a big deal about the 3 cups, so no cup.
Yeah, because they could have just packaged her with 3 cups, right? That would have been like one way to go about it. I mean, that could be their like go-to, right? They don't know what to do, so they just throw in 3 cups. All right, so these are I didn't make individual slides for the TVC because I mean they basically have all these figures in Black Series, but yeah, so the TVC also doesn't have any accessories on. This one, but she does have the cloth.
Soft goods, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course we get the spear with the HK and then you got Hera down there, right? So
Yeah.
it's interesting that we're getting this version, and then you got that HasLab version, right?
Yeah.
So to compete,
I got the Hera because I'm getting the Ghost.
Yeah, and I think that would be the perfect option, right? You get the Hera, and then you can use that with your with your Ghost. I think these are okay. I don't collect TVC, but I'm sure there's a lot of TVC collectors out there that are like, yeah, I'm totally in for all of these. Let's see. At least they give us Morgan the map,
the star map. Yeah,
the star map. And then map thingy would have been great. Yeah, I think everybody's on board with you on the map. So then they went to the retro, and what I did was Hasbro was so uninterested in these retros when they were doing their presentation. I thought I'd just put 2 of them on every slide. That way we can go through them a little bit faster.
Do people actually like these?
What? Do you guys collect these?
Like I know Rick loves the retros, but if it's not like, but if it's not like one of the original like reproductions of like something Kenner made, like, and it's just something new, would you actually get it? Or like,
no. Well, that's not true, because when the Kenobi series came out, I did get Kenobi and I did get the Vader, and I like the Vader because the it's not a telescoping lightsaber, it's like a hand-holding lightsaber.
Vader is like a pre-existing character though, right?
Okay.
Like,
so pretty much no, like and every time I go to the store, at least my store, I always see the retros sitting on the shelf. Nobody's buying them. If the Boba Fett's were all gone, all the original OG ones disappeared, even the colorful pilot Luke Skywalker right off the shelves. But the Kenobi ones have been sticking around. Reva's still up there, along with all those. And I have a feeling this is going to be the same.
I'm not against, and just to be clear, I'm not against the like retro like reproductions of like what Kenner made. But to me, I wish they'd kill off this line and reallocate those resources to, I don't care, TVC and or Black Series or anything else. Just this, I don't know.
So 3 people who are going to stop watching us pretty soon is Rick, who says, finally the good stuff. Lobot, who's in, and J2, who says, retros? I heard retros. I'm here.
Yep.
Well, I guess I'm not the demo for this, I guess. Yeah.
I think out of these two, I would opt maybe to pick up the Sabine, only because it's like a Mandalorian like figure, and because it has that green lightsaber I can give to my Luke.
Oh,
my Jedi Luke, right? Like my vintage Kenner Jedi Luke doesn't have his green saber, so I could give him a green saber. I don't know why she has 2 different color guns, but hey, it is what it is. The Hasbros, I guess it's so you know which one goes on the left and which one goes on the right. Retro budget comes through. Kind of sucks for collectors, but the problem with these retros I also have is the price point, right? They keep raising the price on them.
Oh, that chopper's pretty cool.
Yeah. My Facebook group is also the most active and growing. Oh, he's got a retro Facebook, I think, for retros. But is it for actual retros, like the new retros, Rick, or is it for vintage retros? Or whatever. Actual retros or these fake retros is what I should say.
Fake retro,
just like new media.
He's trying to get him fired up.
New media retro style.
They're not real retro.
All right, so and then of course, and I don't know. So the HK guy, is he not supposed to be all red, or is this just a universal HK?
I'm not sure if they're the ones that.
And is her? I don't know. I just think like they were so excited about him, but then they got to a certain point, just weren't excited anymore. And it was right around here. Oh, we still have more. So yeah, get the retros. They're really selling those retros.
Retro was cool.
Yeah,
I don't know if you.
If I were them, I wouldn't do retro style figures for the new media. I would just reproduce everything from
I think if they
the
went
original
ahead,
Kenner figures.
if
That
they
I
stuck
can see
with
making
those,
more money.
yeah, if they stuck with those original Kenners and like finished them off. But the problem is they don't want to do it all now, right? Because they want to keep people interested in it for years. That's why you're getting spatterings. But they found that this could be a fairly profitable
I'm
way
not
to
saying
go.
dump all of them all at once. I'm just saying like only do the originals, right?
All right. Yeah. No, I agree. So here's the other question. Do you think that this is a good move to try to entice people to get to 17,000 on their little HasLab?
So here's the thing. They're going to make these figures anyway. They're not going to say it. They're just not going to have the mural card back, right?
Yeah.
Because if we don't get like they're I don't see a scenario where they don't make these figures and Zeb, assuming we get to Kanan, right? Like we're
Right.
going to get those figures, maybe not with all the accessories,
Right.
but I understand them doing this, and I would get these for the mural, right, to just finish it off. But it's not happening, right? Like I'm not convinced that we're getting 17,000.
Sure. I want to say hello to Ramen Toys, who has just joined us. This is Ramen Toys from his YouTube. He's come by to check out the stream. We were talking about your stuff earlier.
Hello.
We were talking about the Marshall figure. Anyways, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that they were going to make these anyways. I know that they're trying to sell it to you on the card back. But yeah, if they're going to make them and you're going to get to the 17, it's going to be a bonus. I think it should just be like, say, we're going to make these, but for everybody who backed, we're going to include them. And for everybody who didn't back, you can pick them up.
That would be kind of pointless because then you'd only have 2 with the murals.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's people that may only want Chopper.
Sure.
Because there's droid.
But what I'm saying is they're still like I'm more than willing to bet they're still making all of the whole Rebels crew in TVC just without the mural card back, right?
Right. Which is interesting because when they first announced that mural card back, it doesn't become evident to what that mural card back is until you watch Ahsoka.
Right.
Right.
Or if you've seen Rebels.
Well, was that mural in Rebels?
Yeah. So
okay.
the scene in the second episode where Sabine like looks at the mural and then walks over to Ahsoka, that is like the final shot of Rebels.
Oh, okay. See, and that's something I don't know because I didn't actually watch the Rebels.
Right? Although it's just like I questioned it myself. Like I've seen Rebels and I know the scene, but the only thing that's different is Ahsoka's wearing some different clothing.
Right. Let's see. Hold on, Ramen. I was scanning through the earlier part of the stream. Some mention of Musk Agent Scully. Yeah, we were talking, and then we talked about the Marshall and how you guys had your Ramen Racer on display over at PowerCon, and we were trying to figure out if the Ghost Rider figure that was with the Ramen Racer was this Agent Scully, or was it like a prototype, or was it an actual Ghost Rider figure? Final shot, yeah, 10 years later. So, and then they were just announcing that mural in the Ahsoka show. So, but for me, right, who didn't see, okay, so there's no C&D for Agent Scully. We have not offered it yet. Yeah, I saw it in the video. That's why I had the picture. But for me, that's the first time I see the mural.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it makes sense, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I think it goes back to, yeah, they're cutting this HasLab off way too early because you really need more of that Ahsoka show to get people that haven't seen that interested in the characters. You want to see more of the characters. Why do I want a Kanan figure? Why do I want a Zeb?
The only reason I can imagine is just the like weird production timelines and constraints. Other than that, no other reason makes sense, because at that point it's just like the marketing team saying like, oh, the campaign must be this long, it can't be longer, because
Right.
right, like that. You make up the rules, people, right? You can do whatever you want.
Okay, so they're saying that the figure was the Legends with their flame prototype. See, this would be nice, right? Like, we could have had our questions answered. Not a fully formed prototype. Okay, let's see. And then, of course, they get to the pipeline reveals. And so I have some issues with some of the pipeline reveals. And Luke, X-Wing PLA is not one of the questions that I have. Okay, so...
Okay.
Let's just forget that that's a question. So I want to know if anybody else has these questions about their stream. Why is a stormtrooper a pipeline reveal? Anyone? Because I will tell you, like, I have this. They already have it. If they just take the red stuff off, they got a stormtrooper. They could have showed an actual TVC stormtrooper. If you go over to Imperial Communications channel, he was doing a live stream where he's unboxing hundreds of vintage collection stormtroopers today. So I don't know why the stormtrooper is a pipeline.
My guess, the only rational explanation I can give is they are going to re-release more stormtroopers, right? It's in their best interest to do that because they're going to sell, right? And they just needed to fill the space with something here because they're saving other reveals for PulseCon.
Okay. And then my other question, besides of course the spelling, is when they pipeline reveal a Black Series Hammerhead, you're telling me like nobody could paint one of these in time for their live stream?
What you're just expecting, like a prototype?
Yeah, I mean something. I mean, they were showing off figures all the time. They could have done. Why is it a pipeline in a picture like that when they have an actual product that they could be ready to have revealed and released? I mean, they have the mold for this.
So if they're, I don't know. I don't know what their schedule's like, but if they don't have it, I'd rather them like be transparent and show just the picture of the character to say, yes, it's in our plans. Like, you can clearly see what we were doing with Doc Ondar. We got
right, obviously
we got shop Disney and Disney parks to subsidize the development of that figure that you all want. So we're just acknowledging, like, I'm not going to ding them for being transparent.
Okay. I just think that they could have did much better than a picture on a pipeline reveal page. Just my opinion. But anyways, Connor says something in here to Ramen Toys. He says, would be great to see you pop up some week. And yeah, absolutely. If you want to come on the Toy Duo and have a conversation about what you guys are doing, we would love to have you. Come on. And I bet you, like, we have some different hosts that come on, and I bet you, like, we'd have a whole bunch of questions to fill the time with. So if you're interested, I can message you or something like that. I agree from the Joe team and Marvel team. No problem with renders or painted samples, photographed. High Gap After Dark. We want the 4-pack Stormtrooper, not a single. Okay, so maybe the pipeline is, maybe they should have put a S, Stormtroopers, for a pipeline. But anyways, those were just my questions. And of course, finally, I think we got these. Do you collect, anybody collecting these or have collected the older versions?
Negative.
Dan?
Got the 5-inch?
Yeah, I think they're the Superpowers line.
Yeah. I did way back when that was when they first, like, way back.
Okay, so I know that. Okay, cool. We'll have to have a chat. Peacemaker, yeah, I knew that. Yeah. So Ramen saying yes, he'd love to come on. We're gonna have a chat about that. So, spoiler, everybody. Let's see. So Peacemaker. So I knew Left Coast was gonna like this. Actually, I only put this in for Left Coast Graphics. I'm not going to highlight all of them. I only, oh, why are these out of order? How about these
Mars
super
Attacks.
Peacemaker, Judo Master, and Vigilante figures? Did I say Vigilante?
Vigilante.
It was French.
Now you sound like Hasbro.
I know. Vigilante figures. I mean, come on.
Vigilante.
They look pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to get them. I know that Rick will get them. I think, Rick, there's only 100 people interested in these figures.
105.
Yeah. In Francais. Yeah, like PLA. Rick saying in France. Yeah, French. Okay, so I think they're pretty cool. I know Rick thinks they're great. Joseph saying Vigilante. Yeah. I know that's going to come back now. Somebody should make a short video about me mispronouncing words.
Coming.
Is anybody surprised? I am not. Let's see. Mars Attacks. Okay, let's go back to the Mars Attacks. Have you, anybody interested in Mars Attacks?
No.
Who is this? Who's this from?
Have you, Super 7, I think.
Super 7.
I think so.
I'm in.
So you like their stuff. I think they look super cool. I mean, like it's just different, right?
I saw
look
the
at the
movie
head on
when
that guy.
I saw the movie when it came out when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it since, and no interest in the material.
It's hilarious. Boy, that price.
It actually freaked me out as a kid. There's some funny bits, but yeah, some of it kind of freaked me out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got to. I think it is Super 7 because I think that they have been doing the Mars Attacks. Somebody has to help me out. Jonathan, did you pre-order the Super 7 figures?
It's Super 7, but they're $54.99.
Whoa!
How much?
For one?
Big Bad Toy Store. $54.99. Yeah. One.
But they're not 4 inches, right? Or are they 4 inches? Super 7.
7 scale.
You gotta be a really big fan of that movie to warrant paying that.
Yeah.
Wait, this is a 4-inch figure for $25?
No, 7.
Oh, 7-inch figure.
Wait.
Okay, 7. Yeah,
no,
7 inch.
$55.
Oh, 55. Yeah, that's about right. That's about what they do for their Joes.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, look at the
yeah.
detail on them. I mean, I think it just looks really cool to me, right? Like that whole Mars Attacks thing, I thought was like really cool at the time. They had a really cool look, but yeah, that price point is a little bit high. It's Connor saying that it's close. Yeah, you can get a Trouble Bubble for that.
Oh yeah,
or something, right? All you're getting is 7. Oh, because it's not super. Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyways, I think that was the end of that presentation. Let's just get rid of that. So how many items from that slideshow are you guys pre-ordering or have pre-ordered? Well, let me count, Eric. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 8, right, Eric? Coming?
I can't recall how many. I got all the Black Series ones.
Yeah, I cannot say on camera because somebody might watch this video.
No, she knows. She knows. No, I got all the Black Series and then just the Hera in TBC.
Oh my god!
But I also got the Sabine helmet. My wife saw that because I signed up for email alerts with our shared email account for Hasbro Pulse, and she's like, "Oh, I saw they have a Sabine helmet. You got that, didn't you?" And I'm like, mm-hmm.
She knew.
Connor is like, nope on everything. It's not super. $54 is a bit high. Throw in some extra accessories, and we're in business. Let's see, 0 pre-orders for me. Wow. What about you, Dan? Yeah. Anything on there? Spike your interest? No, not even the Peacemaker in 4-inch scale.
No, there's a couple of them that I'm with you. If I see like Morgan come down or some of those Black Series go hit a sale or a clearance or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. nothing that jumped at me. Although I noticed, I think is the first of the Black Series that will be back in the windowed package.
Yeah, those Infinity Sagas are going to have windows.
I saw that too. Yeah,
they have. I think from what I saw, though, the like Black Series waves are all jumbled up. Though there are like several waves, like maybe 3 or 4 waves that are outstanding that all had like missing figures that they're like filling in the gaps, and nothing's like coherent or whatever with the like way they've been trickling things out.
Right. Ramen is asking it if I met him at Power. I didn't actually get a chance to get to PowerCon. I'm on the West Coast, but if you're ever in town for San Diego, you have to let me know for San Diego Comic-Con. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. Just wanted to answer that.
It's all good.
Let's see. He's actually saying it's 5 a.m. there. So you and Sunny Sundries are probably in the same time zone. Yeah, like to me, like those Marvel Legends, the Infinity Saga, I might want the Black Widow just for the updated sculpt, and because I obviously have a Black Widow collection. The Mark 42 armor, Iron Man, I'm probably going to be in for, but maybe after I see him. Waze believes that I was immediately going to order the Banner figure, the Mark Ruffalo, but I'll definitely wait for that one to see if I can get that like on clearance, just because it's a basic suited body figure, you know, and it just has Ruffalo's head sculpt on it. I mean, that's the only thing that makes that worthwhile. And I, you know, for Hulk, honestly, I'm more of a comic book Hulk than the movie Hulk anyways. All of my Marvel Legends are the comic book Hulks. I think I only have one MCU. I'm definitely in for the Marshall from Ramen Toys. I think I already have that on pre-order, and actually 2, because I'm going to send one to my brother who worked on the Filmation thing in the 80s. He doesn't know it yet unless he's watching this. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then I don't know about those superpowers. I keep seeing them in the store. Keep wanting to pick one up, but I haven't yet found one that just speaks to me. You know, I used to collect them, but I haven't found one that I actually like go, oh yeah, I'm nostalgic for this.
Yeah.
So what else is going on now that we're done talking about all those toys? I've been looking at that. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to ask, going back to the Ghost, what do you think the odds are that if they're like, whether it gets the second tier or not? I would expect it would, based on how things have been creeping up recently. But if it's not getting to that third tier for Zeb, do you think that they're even going to acknowledge an ask to extend the campaign?
I don't see any chance of them extending the campaign more than a day, but I think them using the excuse that the app put the wrong date was already used on the Dragonfly. So I think it would be like far-fetched for them to try to do something like a coding error again to extend it like a day or a week or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't see them coming back and trying to extend it into another couple of weeks just because they're like, oh, the timing with Ahsoka or whatever, just because I think they set like a time frame on it and they sort of lock themselves in. And I think that would be a bad move, considering they didn't do it for the Rancor. They didn't do it for the Engine of Vengeance. They didn't do it for any of the other ones or even the Rancor, which was close. And I think if they would have just pretended like they made that coding mistake, that Rancor would have funded. I can see this happening. I can see that in the next 4 days, you get to the next tier, but it doesn't look like you get to the third tier, and then the numbers just drop.
Oh, if it doesn't, if on the last day, if it's not at the third tier, I fully expect that there are going to be a lot of cancellations. However, it's interesting because if there was just enough to get to that third tier, I would expect the backers to just increase. People would be buying more because they'd be like, "Oh, I'm getting everything, so I'm just going to get another and sell it in the aftermarket." Or other people are going to be like, "Oh, well, I'm getting everything, so I might as well get the one." It's the like kind of psychology of these campaigns, right?
Right. And that's where I think we're going to see what happens in a HasLab that unlocks a tier and then loses the numbers that unlock the tier, to see what Hasbro will end up doing in the end. Will they honor the unlock or say, well, we lost the unlock?
I hope it doesn't come to that, but if it was like something, I think I've gone on record saying this before, but if it was something, if the amount of backers was like, if it happened within like the last hour or something, right? Or something where people wouldn't see in the final day, and I don't see them reneging on the unlocked tier if it dropped just below. But like, if it was like today or tomorrow, right? We're not in that situation because we haven't unlocked the second tier, right? But let's say we were never getting to the second tier and it was just where we're at right now, and if enough people dropped right now to drop it below the first tier, and there are like 4 days or whatever left in the campaign, I don't think that they would produce the first tier in that case. That's not going to happen.
Then you see them coming out saying, well, unfortunately, we lost the subscribers to have that unlocked, so it's now relocked. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think in the last hour they would still?
It would be an extremely bad look for them to renege in that kind of situation, right? Because it doesn't give people enough time to adjust their like purchasing decision, right? Yeah. If they move the needle, or
yeah. So I think JT, I think the retros will fit in there just because those vintage collection figures are basically like 4 inches. Yeah. They're about the same size, and it probably looks pretty cool, right?
You might not be able to put them in some of the chairs if they don't have knee joints, but
he says it will.
All right. I think that was pretty good discussion, guys.
Yeah, good to see you again, Dan.
Yeah, you too, man. Glad I could make it. Thanks, Vern. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Are you going to be doing anything on your YouTube channel?
I think I may experiment with dabbling in some shorts. I don't have enough time right now to do a full length one, just because they're so time consuming. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing how the other half lives. Trying out those shorts.
Try them out. Yeah, you might as well. Yeah. Eric, are you ever going to start posting stuff on your channel?
Unlikely. But I'm sure at some point, like once I get the collection a bit more organized or whatnot, I mean, I might do like a room tour kind of video. If not,
that would be kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are always fun, man. And you can, you can spread those out like just going.
Well, not quite like what Dean did.
Sure.
I don't have that much.
Dean could have split that into like 10 different videos, probably.
He sure could have. Yeah. Let's see.
Those were awesome videos, though. I if he's watching later, I love those videos. Yeah.
I'm surprised he's camping. So Dino's camping. I'm surprised he didn't bother calling me to try to interrupt the show, but I did have him blocked last week, which was kind of interesting. But I felt bad. But anyway,
I gotta check in with him, make sure that he's doing some workout this weekend.
It's good to see the crew. Yeah. All right, and hello to your panel, Sir Eric and Dandy, 1981. Yeah,
cheers.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And everybody else in the chat, thanks for coming by and hanging out and throwing up your comments and asking your questions, because that is half the fun of doing a live stream, is finding out what everybody else thinks about the same stuff that we're looking at. And Eric, thanks for joining us again, as always.
Yeah.
And Dan, it's really good to see you, and I hope you'll be back regularly on the Toy Duo. I know we're the Toy Duo, but there's always like 3 or 4
You
people
gotta-
here, but it's fine.
It's the toy team. You got to rebrand.
I can see you're the
yeah.
toy tenfold right now.
Something like that. Yeah, it's cool. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next time on the Toy Duo every Saturday at noon. Well, and 3 o'clock on the East Coast and 8 o'clock Geneva Mean Time. Is that what it is?
GMT.
Yeah, and then I don't know if British is still Britain's still having their summertime. I don't know. I get all confused with the time zones. But anyways, have a nice weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Have a safe Labor Day.